There is usually a phrase that goes along with the words hypocrisy. It actually is the phrase that is the launchpad of hypocrisy, and that is pot meet kettle, or that's the pot calling the kettle black. Because this and what you're about to hear is the prime example of that. So we all know that Shaq and Charles Barkley berated Kyrie Irving publicly on national television when it came to what he did. And they called him an idiot. They called him out of his name, literally on national television, doing massive work as only two buck-broken Negroes could do. Well, it has been revealed that Shaquille O'Neal, has a theater. And in that theater, the same movie that Kyrie Irving is being berated over, Shaq's theater played that same movie. And I can almost guarantee that Shaq profited off of those screenings. So Shaq, when was you going to tell this? When were you going to say this? See, this is exactly why he knew, or he should have known, not to say anything. Because people found this out and revealed it like less than a day ago. And I'm recording this on November 6, 2022. So now I expect the same vitriol that came to Kyrie Irving to come to Shaq. And I'm going to read this article that's coming off of the Sports Rush. It says Kyrie Irving has found himself on the wrong side of history yet again. This time around, his inability to send out a proper apology during the media sessions to the Jewish community and any other communities he's wrongfully impacted has resulted in his basketball career currently existing in a state of limbo. Now, what I find interesting is that it says his inability to send out a proper apology during media sessions to the Jewish community and any other communities. What other communities? Like, who else is he supposed to be, quote unquote, apologizing to? Did he offend other people? You know, I'm not going to even go there. Let me continue. Of course, we're talking about the fact that the Nets guard shared a documentary from 2018 called Heroes to Negroes on his Twitter. This film was filled with, in their opinion, anti-Semitic tropes and fake quotes from Adolf Hitler. When talking about this debacle on Inside the NBA, Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley went in on Kyrie, calling him an idiot. Shaq would then express his disappointment with the fact that he's even being called upon to talk about this rather than actual basketball. Fans, however, after some digging, have found Shaq's take to be extremely hypocritical. Some incredibly astute observations made by fans following the Kyrie Irving debacle has brought up some dirt on the big Aristotle. It has been confirmed through the tweet shown below that a theater Shaq owns actually screened the movie Irving promoted back in 2018. The theater is Cityplex 12 in Newark, New Jersey, and it was the one that showed Heroes to Negroes. Shaq never addressed this at the moment of its screening, and he has yet to address this currently. With O'Neal being an incredibly public figure, it's safe to say that the virality of this tweet would reach him soon enough. Him not having justified why a theater owned by him screened this documentary, however, has led to some fairly angry fans online. After having been addressed by multiple authoritative figures on social media, such as NBA Commissioner Adam Silver and Nets Governor Joe Tsai, Irving has been suspended from playing basketball. He's had to forfeit over $1.2 million in game checks after being suspended for a minimum of 5 games. He's also been suspended by Nike as they have canceled releasing for his Kyrie 8. For him to be reinstated back into the league, he will also have to meet with multiple Jewish leaders in the Brooklyn area to fully grasp the harm he has caused. Man, this thing, that's why I have dubbed the NBA as the National Buck Broken Association. What I don't like about some of these articles, before I continue what I have to say about this, is how come whenever there is a topic where we're supposed to be focusing on one thing, they have to go into the backstory of something completely different. This article was supposed to be about Shaq and his hypocrisy. This is what the article was supposed to be about: Shaq playing this movie that he berated Kyrie Irving over. Yet they went into a whole diatribe about Kyrie Irving at the beginning and the end. We only got a little small piece in the middle about Shaq's hypocrisies when it comes to this berating that he did to Kyrie Irving, and how he's a hypocrite because the movie that he showed is the same one that he called Kyrie an idiot over posting the link to. It's like, how could you have not known, Shaq, that this movie was screened or not screened? Or how would you not know this movie was screened at your theater? As the person who owns it, you know all the movies that come through your theater. Even what would be considered special screenings, that would be considered a special screening because it's not a theatrical release, a wide theatrical nationwide release. So you knew that they had this movie be shown, especially since this is a movie that is for Amazon. It's on what would be considered a partial partial streaming platform that they allow you, probably because you're Shaq, to screen this for an audience. Back in 2018, which I believe was the year that the film was released. So you're talking 4 years ago. But then when Kyrie posts up about it, then you want to call this man an idiot and how wrong he was for what he did. Like I said, pot, meet kettle. I hope they go in on Shaq, and I hope they stay on him too. I wonder if the ADL is going to make him go on an apology tour. My thing is this was screened back in 2018, 4 years ago. How in the world did no one say anything then? See, now more questions are coming up. More questions are popping up. Just like, how come they have not gone after Amazon and Jeff Bezos? And I was talking to people about this at the rally. And I was saying probably because Jeff Bezos, because of his high status and all the money he has, he probably can't be touched by them. Because I don't know if Jeff Bezos is a part of that community. I don't know. I don't know how or if he even fits into that community, but they never went after him. And also, it was a shout out to Kid Gravity, because he did a video recently where he was talking about the hypocrisies about how Donald Trump has said some things recently. And when I say recently, I'm talking about maybe a couple weeks ago, about that community and how they barely talked about what he said, but they couldn't wait to hammer down on Kyrie Irving. They couldn't wait to hammer down on Kanye West. So yeah, it's looking very interesting now. It's like everything's like really starting to come together. But yeah, Shaq, he can't say that these tweets ain't reaching him because people are tagging him. And also, one last question. Who was in the audience when he did this screening? Who was the viewing audience of this? The way it sounds, it doesn't sound like it was many or any PC people there. It was probably a bunch of black people. Probably a bunch of young black people too. Now, what if Kyrie could have came out and said, well, the way I found out about this movie was because I found out Shaq was screening this at his theater a couple years ago. Of course, he wouldn't do something like that because that means he was ended up throwing Shaq under the bus. I'm just using it as a hypothetical. But now seeing how Shaq threw Kyrie under the bus, knowing that he screened this movie 4 years ago at his theater, if Kyrie decided to lift that bus up and just place Shaq's big ass under it, would we be mad? Will we be upset? I highly doubt it.